Today, I'm going to help you stop producing such boring shadows. Hey everybody, what's up? Gary Simon here. So today we're going to take a look at the CSS Box Shadow Property. Now this is a property that often gets overlooked and it's usually simplified greatly, but you can actually stack layers on top of each other by comma separating the values. So I'll show you exactly how that works. First, we're going to get into an Adobe Xd presentation, then we'll jump into code, and then I'll show you a tool that allows you to create these stacked box shadow layers very simply. All right, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's get started. Before we begin, Linode makes it easy and affordable to host your website, your portfolio, your online store, and more on whatever technology stack you use. Getting up and running is fast and easy with one-click app installs like WordPress and Drupal. With back-end access to your server, customization and scaling options are all but limitless. If you just need something small like an online portfolio to showcase your work, Linode has you covered. If you need to manage tons of clients' websites and reliably serve them to millions of visitors, Linode can do that too. So sign up using the link below in the description to get $20 in credit on your new Linode account. All right, so I created an Adobe Xd kind of presentation. Adobe Xd has taken the place of the few times that I would use PowerPoint actually. But yeah, so we're just gonna have a quick demonstration first and then we'll get into the actual code in CSS. But just to demonstrate, what these properties are all about, first we have the Box Shadow Property, and then the first value after that is the x-axis. So when you change this value, of course, it changes the shadow position horizontally. So if we did 50 pixels, it's going to push this over here to the right. Next up is the y-axis, very simple. This will push it up or down. Then we have the blur radius. So if we wanted it, say, from 100 pixels to 15, we can really see that difference. It's not quite as much of blur. Next up is the spread. Now the spread, unfortunately, you can't demonstrate the spread in Adobe Xd because they don't give you the spread option in their UI design tools. But basically, that will grow or shrink the actual shadow or the blur. And so we'll see that when we get into CSS. And then also finally we have the color, and you can put the hex values or all the various ways in CSS to specify color values. For shadows, I like RGBA just to specify the 3 color values here and then the opacity. So if you change that up, of course, you can have colored shadows, not a big deal. And then finally, you can have multiple layered shadows, and which is really what the focus of this video is, to really create more unique and interesting shadows. And so that's what we're going to get into here in the code demonstration. So over here I have our index.html set up. We'll write the quick markup, and then we also have a CSS file linked here. And I just have one rule set here for the body, nothing major. So I just want to get the markup here for this quick demo. And what we're going to start with is just a container here. Oh, what am I doing? I'm writing CSS in HTML. I'm all over the place. All right, there we go. Okay, we're going to do H1, my awesome site. And you may be wondering, why am I even bother writing out the HTML for such a simple example? I kind of like to show everything in my tutorials for the most part, just so we don't skip a step. And plus, someone might not really be certain how to create kind of like the card structure or HTML structure. I'm just going to use a strong here for the titles of the cards, and then like lorem 20, I guess, for the paragraphs. And then I will take this and copy that or paste it twice. All right, very simple. So if I right click and use open with live server, there's a live server extension. You can go to the plugin section and install that. We'll get an HTML page or a page showing up right here. There we go. So let's say, for instance, that we wanted to have these 3 cards side by side, and then we'll have a shadow applied to them. So let's go to our main Sass, and then we will first specify our container. So the container, I'm going to set it up the old school way with 80% margin, 0 auto, which will center everything in the browser. Where's my toolbar? It's not showing up. I hate when that happens. Let's get it out here. Okay. Oh yeah, and I have my cards outside of the container. Let's fix that up real quickly. Take this off. And then I have a barking dog down there. Very frustrating. It's like I told my wife, yo, I'm going to be recording. Make sure the kids and the pets are quiet. Okay, so let's check that out. Now they're both inside the container. Okay, so now let's go also and specify our main selector here. We're going to do a display grid and then grid template columns. We have 3 of those cards, so we're going to repeat 3 auto. We'll do a grid gap of 4 EM to give them space between each other, and we'll push them away from the paragraph above it and next to the HTML. So there we go, very simple. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and specify our card. This is our last rule set. This is why I decided to include everything in this demo. There's not much HTML or CSS. Background white, padding, we'll just do like 1.5 EM. And then border radius is, if I could spell, 0.4 EM. And this is what we have so far. So I hate when Windows toolbars just refuse to work. So this right here, in my opinion, for these cards and the background of the cards versus the background of the page, there's not enough contrast. And you could really improve that in a few ways. For instance, one knee-jerk way to do it, which would be fine, is to take the background. We'll get out the inspector here. So let me get out the styles. We have this background right here. We could decrease the contrast, or increase the contrast by decreasing the lightness of the background. So like this, just barely, we just barely even touch that. That's one acceptable way of doing it. Depending on your foreground color, ours happens to be white. You could change the foreground color as well. All right, so what we'll do is add a shadow. All right, so a shadow, very simple, the box shadow, as we just demonstrated at the beginning of the video. We have our x-axis, so we're just going to put 0. We don't want it situated to the right or to the left. And then we also have the y-axis, which is vertically, so we're going to push it down 20 pixels. And then we have the blur, the amount of blur. We'll just do 30 pixels for that. We have the spread, and we'll demonstrate this. We're going to put that at 0. And then we have the color value. RGBA, we'll say 0, 0, 0. And then we'll make it very light, like a 0.1 alpha. So let's save that. We'll go back, and here we are. So now you can just barely see that difference because we put it at 0.1. I wanted to demonstrate this spread real quickly just because I didn't do that before. What we'll do is I'm going to increase this to like 0.5. And so now we'll see what that does. And then what I'll do is adjust the spread. So if we take the spread to like 20 pixels or something crazy like that, you'll see it really pushes it up. And especially if you, in conjunction with that, take the blur radius down, you'll see what the spread does. If we take this back down to 0 though, there you go. So it's just like, it'll just grow or shrink the actual shadow. So I'm going to revert those back, by the way. We had 20 here on the X or the Y axis. We have 30 there and then 0.1 there. All right, so again, this is right here. This is a way to increase the contrast around your foreground element, like your cards or whatever. But really, if you wanted to stick out just a bit more and add a little bit more of an interesting shadow to it, perhaps make it a little bit more skeuomorphic, we can do this instead. So what we'll do, instead of putting a colon here, let's organize this because we're going to have multiple shadow layers. We'll put a comma, and then now we can build a second layer of shadows on it. So we'll do 0. We'll put 4 pixels and 4 pixels for the y-axis and the blur, and then also a 0 for the spread, and RGBA 0, 0, 0. And this one is going to be a shadow that's obviously going to be much more close to the element because we have these values here, and we want it to stick out a little bit more. So we're going to have like a 0.15, 0.14 value. So let's look at this, and then we'll save it. And notice how it adds It almost makes it look like the other one has disappeared, but it's still there, and we can prove that by increasing this to like 0.5 or whatever. It's still there, but because your eye is more drawn to that higher contrast shadow, you don't quite see it as much. So we can just keep on stacking shadow layers here if we wish. So for instance, we'll do another one at 2.2 pixels. So this is going to be even more of a strong sort of shadow that we add to it. We'll do like 0.6 here, something crazy. And now this adds this real, intense sort of shadow right there. So as you can see, you can have a lot of fun with multiple shadow properties here. Now, what's really cool is you can use a tool as well that will give you very interesting shadows and sort of a GUI, graphical user interface, for adjusting these values very simply. All right, so first I wanted to show you this old school one. I used to use this one a lot. And it's just like I said, a GUI for changing the horizontal length, vertical length, etc. This one here at brum.af/shadows is a new one that's come out, and it's really nice intuitive sliders that you can use to change the number of shadows, and it'll update the shadow preview in real time, and it provides you with the code right here so that you don't have to type out all of that stuff and create all these values by hand. So final transparency, increase that, of course. We have the alpha, which is kind of like these Bezier curves that you can create that will affect the values of the alpha. Vertical distance, again, very simple. You can see how many layers there are if you really spread it out. And then blur strength, and we have this. This is for the spread value, I believe. And then reduce spread. Oh, yeah, that wasn't for the spread. That was for the blur strength, the blur value. Very, very, very cool stuff. So, of course, if you wanted to apply, say, for instance, oh, you could also do reverse alpha. I kind of like that one. Let's see here. We'll take that, simply copy everything, and then, of course, we don't want to go to Google. We want to go here. All right. We can just take this property and replace it with that. And we can have our shadows looking like whatever we've applied over here. All right, very, very cool stuff. All right, so I know that was a very niche, very quick and simple tutorial, but it's the holidays, and so I've been quite busy on other things like family and all that good stuff. So I thought I'd put this out there. It is very useful, of course, to know this information, to actually know that you can have multiple stacked shadows when you're creating your UI elements. All right, so I'll talk to you guys real soon. Goodbye.